Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are live for a special episode of Brothers Vent 2. I want to thank everyone for coming on this evening. It's me, Brandon, Professor Swift, all of the above, and tonight just drinking water because we got a real good conversation for y'all lined up. Is T muted?
Yeah, T. Messing up already.
Hey, this your boy T, and out here in the A, you know what I'm talking about, straight out of law, Mississippi, drinking on that young hot water tonight. Let's get right to it.
What's going on, peoples? It's your boy Rob coming to you from Clinton, Mississippi. Home to celebrate my mom's birthday. Today is a birthday. Celebrate with my sisters. RIP moms. Gonna be a great show tonight. Let's get right to it.
What's up, y'all? It's Jay Ward coming to you from Shreveport. I'm actually drinking a hot toddy, minus everything other than the whiskey. I've been kind of congested, so I'm trying to clear my chest up. So just want to say rest in peace to my boy LeBron. Season is over with. He gonna reboot, reprogram, and be back ready to win the chip next year. Unless the Mavericks win it this year. Go Mavs, go Luka.
You can't have two teams, my guy.
I have a player and a team. Be quiet.
Anyway, it's your boy CJB here from Elwood, Mississippi, currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia.
What it do? This your boy Crowley, representing the home team that we all touched on in and met in the Jacktown. Definitely want to welcome everybody. Let's get the show going.
So as we stated, this is a special episode, right? We have a special guest coming on tonight, and I'm going to read her bio, what she's done so far before we bring her on, Miss Dr. Maria Dixon. So Dr. Maria Dixon is a proud native of Jackson, Mississippi. She received her biology degree from Jackson State University. While at JSU, she was initiated into the Delta Pi chapter, D Pi, of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Make sure I say incorporated in 2006. In 2017, she earned a Doctor of Philosophy in Microbiology, Immunology, and Molecular Genetics from the University of Kentucky. In addition to her role as engagement coordinator for the Delta Research and Education.
Pardon us for a minute. T, can you pick that up for us, sir?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He can't read, man. He a doctor, but it's all good, Anyway, in addition to her role as the engagement coordinator of the DREF Research Matters for All of Us program, she is a research scientist at a contract research organization in Durham, North Carolina. And
I was swiping and I hit the back button. My bad.
Lord,
my bad.
You a doctor, man. I covered it for you, my guy. I got you.
Take that, T. See, that's why we brothers. So without further ado, before we can make any more mistakes, let's bring on Dr. Maria Dixon.
Already.
Doc.
Thank you for having me, for allowing us to invade Brothers Vent 2 tonight. I'm excited about the conversation that we're going to have. Again, I am Dr. Maria Dixon, and I serve as the engagement coordinator for the DREF Research Matters for All of Us initiative. In 1967, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated established the Delta Research and Education Foundation, also known as DREF, as the major nonprofit organization to support charitable and educational programming beneficial for African American women and their families. DREF, along with our collaborative partners, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and the National Council of Negro Women, are conducting a national health initiative entitled Research Matters, Creating Possibilities to Achieve Health and Wellness for All of Us. So in 2015, President Barack Obama introduced the Precision Medicine Initiative. A part of Obama's Precision Medicine Initiative, the All of Us Research Program was created. So the All of Us Research Program is a large research program with the goal to help researchers to better understand more about why people get sick or why people stay healthy through personalized medicine. Precision medicine is personalized care for each individual. It considers your genes, your environment, your lifestyle, your age, or even where you live. Did you know that current medicine is a one-size-fits-all approach? Well, precision medicine is taking an innovative approach to personalized healthcare by providing the right patient, the right dose of the right medication at the right time. You will now hear from President Obama speak about precision medicine.
Something called precision medicine, in some cases people call it personalized medicine, gives us one of the greatest opportunities for new medical breakthroughs that we have ever seen. Doctors have always recognized that every patient is unique. And doctors have always tried to tailor their treatments as best they can to individuals. You can match a blood transfusion to a blood type. That was an important discovery. What if matching a cancer cure to our genetic code was just as easy, just as standard? What if figuring out the right dose of medicine was as simple as taking our temperature? And that's the promise of precision medicine, delivering the right treatments at the right time, every time, to the right person.
So, as a part of our commitment to continue to educate and engage the African American community about the importance of biomedical research and maintaining an overall healthy lifestyle, more than 4 adults experience a mental health or substance abuse disorder in any given year. Yet, only a small percentage of those affected will properly diagnosed and treated for that disorder. But for African American men with their families, the consequences of neglected mental health needs are devastating. Throughout the month of June, which is Men's Health Month, the Men's Health Month aims to encourage men to take charge of their overall health by implementing healthy living and lifestyle decisions. Men often experience health difficulties that can go unnoticed or neglected, hence the importance of Men's Health Month, intended to foster awareness and conversation about men's health issues. Throughout the event, please scan the QR code. I don't think Swift has it, but I'll provide the QR code at the end of the event to complete our engagement exit survey. The purpose for this survey is that your responses will be helpful for us planning future events. The code also provides access to our social media platforms, as well as the vanity link to learn more about the All of Us Research Program and the Draft Research Matters for All of Us initiative. So we're going to move into the conversation that we're going to have tonight. And that's talking about mental health among Black men. It has been a topic of discussion for decades. Black men as a group often experience significant amounts of psychological stress as a result of discrimination, social and economic challenges, and racial injustice. So in the wake of the increasing injustice related to police aggression and brutality, that is growing concern about the impact of these events on mental health. A study published by the American Journal of Public Health noted that those who reported more police contact experienced more symptoms of anxiety and PTSD. However, few Black men seek mental health care. Black men may avoid seeking mental health due to the stigma of mistrust of providers or the lack of culturally informed care. On a daily basis, the Black man has to deal with racism, inequality, and economic oppression while trying to care for himself and his family. Dealing with this harsh reality can lead to increased depression, frustration, low self-esteem, and feelings of hopelessness. So tonight, the brothers will share their thoughts and experiences outlining the systemic issues that underlie health and mental health problems faced by African American men. All right. So y'all ready to get into this conversation about health issues as it relates to African American men? So I like to look up stats because, you know, I'm a doctor and all. So according to the American Cancer Society, there are about 175,000 new cases of prostate cancer diagnosed each year. And prostate cancer is the most common cancer among American men, in which 1 in 9 men are diagnosed. So given these statistics, it's important to ensure that at-risk men are being screened for prostate cancer, especially considering men's known reluctance to seek preventative care. Also to note, prostate cancer is a health disparity in the African-American community. So my question to you all is, why are men less likely to seek health care than women? And anyone can go first.
I'll be the champion here and say I got my prostate checked, about 3 years ago, even before, the required time of age 40.
Quick question though. Is that the test where they go in?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why I say I would be the first since I did it. I'm speaking from experience. Honestly, I was that hard-headed gentleman. And what led to that was played basketball with the bros one day at a certain gym. Woke up that morning, was kind of tight on the side of my thigh. I just took it as I pulled something. Went to work. It was really hurting. So I end up, leaving work, going to the doctor. The doctor was, more so a health clinic. Health clinic was like, we are sending you directly to St. D. I didn't know what was going on. They found a cyst on my scrotum wall. And so they wanted to make sure it wasn't cancer, cancerous or what have you. Grateful that it was non-benign. But that's what led me to seeking a urologist. That's what led me to go ahead and getting early checkups. And so now definitely I'm a champion for it. But before then, it's just for me. And also watching my granddad, my dad, they rarely went to the doctor. If anything, they barely took any type of headache medication. When you cut yourself, break your arm, whatever it is, you continue to work. They wrap it up, put some wood splints around it, and keep going. And so within our culture, within our community, within our family, and then also you have to think about our access to medical care. A lot of our families, our parents didn't have jobs with insurance, so you then depend on the system, and then the system is limited with what Medicaid or Medicare can provide you with or your child with. So I'm gonna give the brother some time because I can continue to go on. So
That's good. So before someone else speaks, I just wanted to ask, how old were you at that time?
What? I'm 37 now, so 33, 32.
Yeah, so you were relatively young. Even like for women with breast cancer, the recommended age is 40. But as you all know, there are a lot of females out there that are in their early or mid 20s that have been diagnosed with breast cancer. So I will say, you got to be your own advocate. And, that's awesome that you actually went ahead and went to the doctor, because I'm pretty sure you was in some pain.
Yeah, definitely was in some pain. I when I say I could barely move my left leg, What
is the recommended age to get checked out for prostate cancer?
40.
40.
Well, yeah, 40.
But if you have a family history of it, I suggest that one, get genetic testing, because genetic testing will allow you to know if you have PCA. Also, you got a family history of it, then the probability of you having that disease or disorder, you have a 50-50 chance. So, we can't just rely on a recommended age. That's why it's important for us to know our family history. And that's a lot of times, like, when somebody passes away, you know, they say, oh, they passed away from, you know, whatever. But then when you get sick or somebody else, you know, they're sick in your family, oh, you know, so-and-so had that. But why y'all didn't tell us about this before, you know? So I definitely think, you know, it's a cultural thing that we really don't talk about medical issues that we face.
Correct.
Anybody else want to chime in on?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Can you ask your specific question again? I want to make sure I'm not over talking it.
Oh no, you can talk. So why are men less likely to seek health care than women?
Okay, so for one, Tuskegee, other experiments like that kind of left a bad taste in our mouths. So we're kind of worried about like being experimented on, I think. Time, a lot of times we're so busy doing other stuff. We say, I'll go next week, I'll go next week, I'll go next week, because we do so much and we just put it off until it's been 2-3 years since the last time you've gone to the doctor. I think a lot of Black people feel like the medicine is not specifically made for Black people. So we kind of worry about that. So it's just like kind of a lack of knowledge about that. Here are the most important points, I think, though. I think all of us on this panel played sports. And the thing that they teach us when we play sports is man up or take it for the team or keep going, push through it and all of that. So we're kind of taught to just deal with, unless you're literally bleeding out or it's a bone poking out, you should be tough enough to go back in. That's why a lot of our people suffer from CTE and all these concussions and stuff like that, because it's like, no, coach, I'm good. I can go in. And that's a lot of, I'm using sports to get me out of my financial situation. So I'm going to just go in and keep playing. So I think that plays a lot of part into it.
Hey,
lack of knowledge.
You saw that last night with AD.
Right.
Chime in that
he had no business playing, but, you know, he's just trying to tough it out. Right.
For 5 minutes, he could have ended his career trying to go out there for those minutes.
Do you all think that's a sign of weakness? Like you don't want to show that sign of weakness, or you just, you know, just trying to tough it out and, you know, just push through it?
I think we know better now that that's not a sign of weakness, but we're taught that that is a sign of weakness. In football, especially football is toxic culture. Football is like based off bullying and the strongest survive. That's what football is based on. And, you know, you kind of taught to, you just got to push through it and, you know, tough it out and all of that. Also, I think poor diet and not having access to adequate diet plays a lot of part into it. And then lack of insurance, because after I turned 18, I was no longer on Medicaid. I think that's what happened. So from the time I graduated high school until I was 29 years old, I did not go to the doctor because I did not have insurance. So it was like, you know, which there was insurance available for me, but you're not really taught to how to go get it. So you just say, oh, I don't have insurance, so I'm just not gonna worry about it unless I'm dying. So I think those are the main factors.
I totally agree, especially with the insurance part. You know, we live in the most wealthy, you know, country, and we have to literally pay for everything, you know, from insurance to education. But you go somewhere else and they don't have to pay for that. And that's why they're living longer. They're having a better, you know, lifestyle. So that does play a major role in, you know, seeking healthcare.
And also, can I chime in also with AD? I think the media played a real role, because at the end of the day, I think they would have mentally weighed on him heavily, because they would have told, well, you would have came in and should have fought for your team. You knew you was at a game 7, a must win. So now they have a different narrative. But I promise you, if he did not step foot on that floor, they definitely would have been ridiculing him today, you know, and they would have blamed him for that loss, to be honest. So that's another thing we have to think about. They treat Black men just like they've been treating us forever. Slaves, and whatever we do, you know, is get out there and perform. I don't like we said, no matter if you're hurt or not, physically or mentally.
Yeah.
And Monique asked a good question too. Robin, so I'm gonna let you talk. She asked a good question. Do you have a fear of test results and how they will affect you as a factor of why you don't seek care? I think that's a good question. And I think the answer is yes. We do have a fear of what the test results will say as to why we won't go seek care if our leg is hurting or our chest is hurting. Wait a few days, oh, it's gonna go away, or I'm gonna be all right, or we don't go see our doctor because we don't have access to health care or insurance, so we don't go at all. But I definitely do think that plays a part into it. Go ahead.
Well, can I chime in on that? And this is a sidebar, but it's relevant. The first time I got tested, like STD tested, and you can go get tested on campus. And I'm like, so many of us are so afraid of those results until you won't even go get tested. And it could be something that just one little shot, shout out to 11, one little shot will get rid of. And it's like, but don't. That 30 minutes that it takes to get those results back is the worst 30 minutes ever, because you're like, oh God, I got AIDS, I got this, I got that. And it's just like, you just rather not know. Meanwhile, it's the same thing with COVID. You could be spreading and spreading and spreading, but had you went and got tested, you could have stopped the spread and you could have been treated earlier. So it's just like, I know it's intimidating and it's nerve-wracking to wait on those results, but it could be something very small and very, treatable.
Yeah.
And life-changing,
Yeah.
You don't know, you can't fix it, right?
Right.
All right.
Yeah, so I was a cancer survivor. I'm a cancer survivor currently. I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 17 years old in high school.
Wow.
Missed half of my junior semester on chemotherapy. When it was stage 3 going into stage 4, mainly because we didn't have a lot of health insurance growing up. And so when it was caught, I was almost dead. And so because of that, I do not hesitate to go to the doctor now, but my father was the opposite. He hesitated going to the doctor. It was a 2-part thing. One was pride, and 2, because they dealt with a lot of racism from doctors. A lot of doctors where we're from in Bolton, they come from that old school white mentality where the doctors are either white, racist, or they're black guys who are trying to make a buck. And so a lot of our parents didn't go to the doctor because of that. He had like 2 or 3 forms of cancer, and we didn't even know he had cancer until he died 2 weeks later. Wow. And so it's just for one, it's a pride thing. He had diabetes, and when he found out he had diabetes, he said he wasn't going to change his routine, wasn't going to change his regimen. He was going to have to die from something. I think that's a terrible and selfish way to think, because you do have kids, grandkids, and people that are depending on you that actually care about you being here. And so any black man that I know and that I meet, I recommend that they go to the doctor if something is going on, or just to get just a once over checkup. Because I have full coverage insurance. And so I feel like if I have it, I need to use it as much as possible and get my money's worth. And so I'm going to go to the doctor if I feel like anything is wrong with me. Plus, I have been broken a few times being in the military. And so I've had to go to the doctor for checkups, things going on in my mouth, implants, surgeries, things like that. So I think it's a pride thing for one, and it shows weakness. And black men specifically, we have a hypermasculinity. We don't like to show weakness, because showing weakness shows us that we're weak and we're vulnerable. The last thing we want to be is vulnerable, especially if we have other people depending on us. So we have to be comfortable in our vulnerability while also realizing our vulnerability makes us stronger. And so we have to get accustomed to being vulnerable, recognizing something is wrong and getting it checked out, because that does help us in the long run.
Absolutely. Anyone else want to chime in before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I just got a little bit. Speaking of that prostate cancer, that's what my pops died from. So, that's like touchy subject, for me. But like you said, I think men, we are just Superman, you know what I'm saying? We are superheroes. We always taught to be the strongest, the alpha and all that stuff. So I think that plays a lot in it too, as far as why go to the doctor? We gonna bounce back, early. We gonna shake it off or whatever. Get up, dust yourself off, and keep going. But when it comes to that health, that's something that we can't play with. And I just think a lot of it had to do with education. You know what I'm saying? Like, we in a privileged position now, but growing up, a lot of our folks, or a lot of us didn't know. Like somebody said in the comments, really just found out what a deductible even mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, and that's real. Like your benefits and stuff like that. Don't nobody know about that. You know what I'm saying? So that's half of the battle right there. Like the education, just knowing, and then getting out the way of yourself, like getting out your own mind. Like, you know what? I need to go to the doctor. I need to take care of this before it's too late, or before it becomes something else. So.
Yeah.
But what if I tell you guys, T, you got me to thinking. So I'm your everyday 9 to 5er. You know, I'm working by the hour. I get sick. I mean, I gotta miss hours at work, which I'm not gonna get compensated for, to go to the doctor and get a checkup. Either my job is offering me no insurance or either partial insurance, and I gotta pay a high deductible, in which they barely covering any prescriptions. They may cover one X-ray, but no CT scans, you know, anything of that nature.
Right.
So now my doctor tell me I go to the emergency room. Let's say I go to the emergency room. Now they tell me I got to go to the specialist. So there's more time off from work. There's another deductible I have to pay now. There's a new doctor bill from a new doctor. So who is going to pay all these bills? And I'm already barely making it above water. Remember, I told you guys, I'm going to keep saying that we making that 23,000 at 25K minimum, and that's true stats. Who's gonna now support my family, my kids, my wife, or myself? Because now I'm either now they're gonna give me the news that I'm sick, or either I done created some bills thinking I was sick, that I shouldn't have just set myself at home and not even went. It was a simple, my side was hurting and it turned out to be none, or either could have been my side was hurting and my appendix was about to burst. You know, so that's that double edge that you have to think about, especially being within African American males. It's thinking about pay, thinking about hourly wage, thinking about missing, thinking about that new bill that's coming in, and don't have any kids that's already in and out the hospital, or your spouse is already in and out the hospital. You then have to really suck it up. And what they say, drink Robitussin for everything.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you guys all made good points, but y'all missed one. Y'all really missed two. The first one is black men are stubborn. Like, one thing about it, Crowley, you spoke on, like, you know, the man wouldn't have, if he missed time from work, he can't feed his family, but what if he's not here anymore? What if he dies with something that went undetected? So who's going to take care of your family then? It's like, it's sad to talk about, really. It was an article about, and it's different, but it was a black man that died from refusal to take the vaccination, and he died from COVID. Family of 5 ain't got a parent, ain't got a father anymore. So that's stubbornness on our part. Also, I feel like, me personally, I prefer a black male doctor, and they are very hard to find.
For real.
Like, I had one when I was in Jackson. When I moved to Atlanta, I still can't find one. And when I found one, due to COVID, they weren't taking new patients. So it's a combination of stuff, and I think we all touched on different highlights, but like, most black men are stubborn. I know my dad, for example, I tell my dad, you gotta go to the doctor, man. He'll be like, man, get the fuck out of my face, or something like that. Just being honest. Like, so it's like, that's being passed down to our generation as well. Now it's more knowledge out there for us to know, you know, we have to go to the doctor, but at the same time, I think that most men should look at it as if you don't want your kids to grow up without you because you chose not to go to the doctor for a preventative checkup.
Absolutely. I think those are excellent points. And that leads me to my next question. So mental health is one of the most stigmatized issues affecting men. Many men, perhaps more than we think, struggle with their mental health and the stigma that surrounds it. So men are notorious for not talking about their feelings. Not y'all though. And no, that's just not another stereotype. A recent study reported that in the eyes of many men, discussing emotions is just another form of vulnerability that can lead to discomfort. It can be scary for many men to begin sharing their feelings, but the payoff is worth it. Men who express their feelings verbally are less likely to express them violently. So, what are some key stressors that contribute to chronic illness, mental health amongst Black men?
I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna jump onto that one, but I'm gonna say money is what I think is one of the big reasons for stress among men, especially when you have a family to take care of, or you paying child support, this, that, and the third. It's like if you're not able to take care of yourself and be comfortable and do what you want to do, that causes a lot of stress, especially if you're at a job you don't want to be at. So I know racism plays a part as well, but you can, to an extent, control what you approach as far as racism. You can control it. Like you can pretty much decide, okay, I'm not going to certain spaces, or I'm not entertaining certain people, this, that, and the third. But as far as money, you can't really control that unless you're in a certain field. It's like if you have a lot of debt, or you just got dealt a bad hand in life financially, it's like that piles up on you. I can think about, like, it's people who really lost a lot during the pandemic. People who couldn't pay their rent, and people who just couldn't take care of their families consistently and didn't know where their last meal came from. So I feel like dealing with like lack of resources for a long period of time really plays a part on the mental health of a man, especially when you feel like you're in it alone, so to speak.
Yeah. So, speaking of like the financial piece, with the pandemic, a lot of people either were laid off or they lost their job. And so when it comes to a man, when you laid off, you can't provide for your family. And then now, we're getting to the situation where we're able to kind of open things back up, and you still without a job. You're applying for like 10, 15 jobs a week, and you keep getting rejections. And you qualified, but some things, you just need to get that financial piece going. Like, can someone talk about how does that feel, being, knowing that you're qualified, but you keep getting the rejections from jobs? Because I mean, I know it's hard, and then you got to, a lot of people aren't even trying to go back to work because they're getting paid more on the unemployment benefits than what they would at a regular job. So can someone speak on that piece?
Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, man, like the greatest rapper of all time said, "Pride is the devil." And I remember, shout out to T. J. Cole said that pride is the devil. I remember when my job cut my position countrywide. I was like, what? And, just the process of unemployment and how they ask you, are you applying for 3 different jobs a week? And for the people that you're applying for a job to say you're overqualified for the job, I'm like, bro, I just need something so that I can pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I remember, and I'm from the era where I remember taking the actual food stamp to the store. And even with an EBT card, you're like trying to slide it to the cashier so no one can see it because it's embarrassing, and that is something that that's something that I always think about. And so now when you are afraid of losing something, you hold on to it tighter. And so I realized that growing up poor and in and out of poverty affected how I am in relationships. Even with, now that I can afford stuff, I still have a poor man's mentality a lot of times about stuff. And it's like, even vacations, it's like, what the fuck we need to go on a vacation for? And it's like, but then I think about it, just all the pluses to going on a vacation, and I can afford it, but I'm just thinking back to how I grew up, and I never want to go back to that place again. So I think a lot of it is, just poorness and the lack of finances and the lack of resources. It plays a big toll on us, and it drains us. And also, as a black man, especially a bigger black man, we've been seen as mindless. Like Crowley was saying in the previous segment, we've been seen as mindless since slavery. We've just been seen as bodies without minds. and they've never thought about us as even having minds. So there hasn't been any emphasis put on us as mental people and our mental health. So that's why there is a mental health deficit in our community, because nobody's ever focused on our mental health, because we've been kind of seen as mindless forever since slavery. I mean, we haven't ever been looked at as just a brain. That's why we can't play quarterback, or so they think, because quarterback is a cerebral position. So they look at us like, oh, you're not smart enough to play quarterback, and they won't say it. They'll use other verbiage to say it, but what they're really saying is he can't read defenses, which means you're not smart enough to play quarterback. So even in 2021, they're still looking at us as mindless. And of course, if the majority sees us as mindless, there is no help for our mental health.
Absolutely. Are there any other stressors that you guys think lead to chronic illnesses and subsequently mental health issues?
Yes.
Jay Ward, drop the mic, man.
Honestly, what if I tell you, and I'm kind of like Jay Ward, but at the same time, what if I tell you majority of African American male are predisposed to chronic illness from birth, and that goes from lack of nutrition, lack of prenatal care, the environment that they grow into, because the brain doesn't fully develop, that frontal lobe doesn't fully develop until like the age of 25. So then you have pruning that goes on, and then what you seeing, whatever you're seeing or experiencing, what you're going through, or the lack of nutrition or the lack of healthcare, you're predisposing yourself. Your children are either, us as Black men, we're already predisposed to it. So by time, like they say it, like who was that who said it? 19 through 20, I think Jay Ward. You didn't have to really go to the doctor, lack of going to the dentist growing up, lack of all of this. So why does it really matter when it comes here? So I've shaken off everything that happened as a little kid. Watch mom, auntie, dad, whoever grew up you were raised with, kind of dismiss, either when I told them I'm hurting or something is going on, or they might say, hey, boy, we don't got money for this right now, this, that, and the other. So when you get older, like Jay Ward said, you have that mentality, that broke man's mentality, that poor man's mentality. Either I can't afford it, like I said, with the job, either I don't have time. You dismiss it as nothing is wrong with me. Mm-hmm. And so that's that predisposal mentally, emotionally, financially, without you even having a chance to know what's going on. It's like we set out within our culture, and now that I'm thinking about it, we have set ourselves up for a lot of sub-generational curses. Mm-hmm. Without even talking about it, but we're doing it now, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely. And I think this is a great platform and a space, a safe space for you guys to talk about it and, just let it out. Because, a lot of times I notice from my husband, I could tell when something is wrong with him. And I'll be like, what's wrong with you? Like, is everything okay? And he get that infamous response, I'm good, bro.
I'm good.
Like, I'm good.
Everything's straight.
Everything's straight. So why is it that men don't like to express their feelings?
Sometimes we ain't in the mood to talk. Like, I'm just gonna keep it bud. Like, you gotta catch us at the right time. If it's something that just happened, we trying to process those thoughts, figure out, are we tripping? Or I got the right to be mad? You know what I'm saying? Am I putting too much into it? So sometimes just not in the mood to talk right now. But one thing about your woman, she gonna force you to talk. Like, shit, my wife forces me to talk, even though I don't be in the mood to talk. So
sometimes the problem is asking you what the problem is. That's another thing.
And how you ask it, and the tone.
Like sometimes the person that's asking you what's wrong is what's wrong, and so we may not be ready to tell you that I'm mad at you for whatever reason, because we know that if we say what we really want to say at that point in time, it's going to go left really fast,
real quick.
And so we have to, if most men who are in a relationship are emotionally in tune with their lady, And so they know if they pop off with exactly what they're feeling about that situation at the time, it's going to cause an argument that's going to last, and it's going to be awkward for about 1 to 2 weeks. Stuff's going to be weird. So a lot of times, a lot of us, we swallow what's wrong with us when it comes to our lady just to keep the peace.
Anything.
Oh, so let me jump in real quick. Let me jump in.
Just to keep the peace.
So Rob, let me ask you this. This goes to Rob. There's some you said, Corey. So I'm your son in both of you all's household. And I see this behavior. This is taught behavior. So now that I'm with my wife, do I truly know how to express myself? Can I walk on eggshells? Because I saw my dad not be able, he was able to express himself at some times, but not all the times. Is that healthy for a black male? Is that healthy for the relationship you in? Are women dating toxic to where we can't come to them and we gotta go somewhere else? I'm just asking you all there before I start, my brother. I'm learning.
So for me, I have gotten to the point where when I'm talking to Fee, I have to let her know that I'm not upset, I'm just bothered. And for me, I can't hold on to stuff for long. And so if something's bothering me in about 1 to 2 days, I got to say something because it just messes me up. But I also realize that I have a really, really terrible temper, and I can slice you with words really, really, really bad if I'm really pissed off. So I also have to be mindful of my feelings. I also have to be mindful of her feelings, but I also have to let her know that I'm pissed at something that she did, and this is why. But it has to be said in a way where it encourages dialogue and not me just hitting her in the face with words. And so, mind you, this has been 10, 12, 15 years in the making, where I'm comfortable with myself. I know my temper. I know my words. A lot of men aren't there yet. And so if you aren't there yet, you're going to pop off and it's just going to jack stuff up. So it's something that you have to be mindful of your words, mindful of the person that you're with. But sometimes the problem is asking you what the problem is, and it's them. And so if it's a relationship you're trying to save, you got to let them know. You can't walk on eggshells. You have to let them know something's not off, or something's wrong. You did X, Y, Z, and you have to tell them, because for me, the longer I keep it inside, it's going to bottle up, and I'm going to explode on something that's menial based on something that I was pissed off about 2 months ago. And so sometimes it's just, you have to do it, man. You got to speak your mind, and you got to let people know, including your lady or your mate, that they're the issue sometimes, and you have to be able to verbalize it and tell them so you can work on it.
Respectfully, like you can verbalize it, but you can also be respectful while you're pissed.
Right.
And it's like you can't just, approach a lady like on some baby boy type shit. You gotta really like be within yourself and have a calm conversation. Like, look, this
that don't work,
y'all.
boy. Y'all cap.
Nah, bruh. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I'm telling you, look, man, I feel like you don't understand, bro. I'm like 6'6", 270. If I raise my voice, like, I'm gonna
have a problem with you raising your voice.
Yeah, it's like I can't even. Like, it's like we was out, man. Somebody was trying to sell some timeshare, and I was like, "Look, bro, hell no!" And I just said it calm. They looked at me like, "Oh shit, let me get them the fuck up out of here." So I had to be mindful on how I talk just off of my stature. So I know I have to be mindful with my wife. So it's just sometimes you're not ready to talk. I'm gonna keep it but because I feel like there's nothing wrong with getting outside counsel from a trustworthy person that's going to be non-biased. So sometimes I do that, like, bro, am I tripping? Then I'm like, nah, you got a right to be pissed. Then I'll bring to her attention. But one thing about, my wife, she knows when she's pissed me off or I'm pissed about something. So we usually resolve it real quick because, like Rob said, the longer you hold it in, she can just come in the house wrong and you'll be ready to snap. And that's not healthy for the marriage or relationship. So you have to get it out in the air quickly and you have to resolve it quickly. So I agree with Rob.
So as married men, do you all have to find a space to be vulnerable with your wife, or do you feel that you can be vulnerable at all times? Because it seems like you all are limiting your vulnerability with your wife. I'm just asking. Like I say, I'm learning.
If I can't be vulnerable with her, man, we shouldn't have got married. And I say vulnerable at all times. I wouldn't say that I'm not being vulnerable. It's more so protecting how I display certain emotions. Like I feel like you can't, as Black men, we don't have the luxury to act like a lunatic. That's a white man's luxury. So you have to be willing to know how to control your emotions. Like, you're not going to make it far as a Black man. You can't control your emotions. Like, that's just point blank. I tell any young man, period, you got to control your temper or you're not going to get far. It's just the car we've been dealt. That's how life is. It is what it is. So I feel like it's more so controlling emotions than anything.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, you mentioned as a Black man, you can't, show your emotions or show like what would consider to be violent emotions as a white man would. And so like when we think about police brutality or even just being pulled over by the police or even just having that talk, at what point in your life or everyone's life did you realize you were Black, a Black boy, a Black man in America?
Prosperity, Wilson Avenue.
That
pulled over and rain, man.
That taught you real fast over there in my neighborhood. As a little kid, police would roll up on us as little kids riding bikes. You getting harassed, and then you walking in the house and your dad like, when you riding in the group, son, they see a group of young Black kids, they're gonna think something up, and so that's training as a little kid to. I got to be cognizant that I'm young and I'm Black, and it's a target on me from outside individuals who has on this certain uniform, who may be majority a different color and even like my color, but go by a different vibe behind their badge.
Absolutely.
That you at a young age, and I guard my son. I say this much. I truly guard my son. I tell him all the time that he's a Black king, but he'll be like, Dad, I'm brown. Because he truly hasn't had to encounter the experience of dealing and not saying that I'm not teaching him, because as I say, I tell him he's a Black king all the time, but he recognizes himself as being brown versus being Black, because he hasn't encountered those racial, I guess, injustices along the way. I teach him about the leaders. I say these are Black leaders. That Miss King Brown, and I'm like, no, he's Black, son, and trying to get him to understand that, but he hasn't had to truly encounter and get a full understanding of being Black in America, or knowing that just because your skin is brown or whatever tone it is, any color can equate to your life being altered or ended by the system or by those who are involved in the system.
Absolutely. Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I'll go. I think there was a lot of small things that happened throughout my childhood and growing up. When I look back on it, I can see now that that's systemic racism. But as an adult, with my particular job as a teacher, I go from school to school. So I'm not at one school every day. I go from school to school. And I was sitting in front of this one school, and I was eating my lunch. And so the resource officer came out to my truck and was like, hey, some of the teachers asked about you, and they said that they were that I was making them nervous. And normally I'll say, oh, hey man, I'm with the such and such and such and such. But that particular day, I wasn't for the bullshit. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm gonna just be real with you, dog. If you want to just be stereotypical, if anything, I'm out here smoking weed, but y'all the one that shoot up schools. And he looked at me and I looked at him and I'm just like, bro, black people don't shoot up schools. And like he just looked at me like, but I just wasn't for it that day. And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to sit out here and gather my thoughts. And I have a truck with rims on it and all that type of stuff. And I'm looked at as, I might be a drug dealer. Yeah, I've been pulled over so many times and all that type of stuff because of that. And I'm like, bro, and when I explain to my students, and I teach in a predominantly white district, and when I explain to my students that I've been discriminated against, they always say we should protest. And then I let them know that it's been in this school district that they attend school at, and they have a blank look on their face. And it's like, but my mom works in this school. Like, there's no way. And I'm just like, this is reality. But I'm also usually the first or only black teacher that they have, especially a black male, and definitely the first non-coach that they've had. So they're looking at me. They don't look at me as a black man. They look at them as their theater teacher. But then when I let them know the other side of it, they're always looking at me like, I didn't know it was that way. And I understand because racism is taught, whether it's inadvertently taught or if it's, just taught intentionally. But children are not born discriminated. If you look at children go play with anybody. If you take them to the park when they're little babies or they're 3-4 years old, they're toddlers, they'll go play with anybody who plays with them. But they have to learn that behavior. So you have to learn the racist ways. So I think that a lot of it is, when you grow up and it's like a lot of racism. And I grew up after I moved from Lake Providence, I grew up in Vicksburg, Mississippi, which is like, there's a civil rights museum in Vicksburg. There are monuments and all these other civil rights people. Everywhere you go, every turn you take is Pemberton this and Pemberton that. And it's like, man, I didn't even realize that I've grown up worshiping someone who wanted to keep me in slavery. And it's crazy. It's just like when you think about the other side of it, it's like, man, you were taught that John C. Pemberton was this great man, but he was a Confederate general. Jefferson Davis and all these people, you were just taught that these were great people. And then once you really learn that, hey, these people wanted to keep you in slavery, these people didn't, you're like, what? Well, why is there a street? Why do I live on Jefferson Davidson Drive? Why do I live on Jeff Davis Drive? And so it's such a mental toll that it takes on you growing up. And you're just like, damn, it just feels like this system is stacked against me. So then you start just learning to pick your battles, which I do now. I learn to pick my battles, and I can't be a full-blown activist at work, but I don't stand for anything because I'm just like, I will ride for what I believe in on my job, because after they fire me, they'll go hire somebody else. So I'm definitely going to speak my mind before you get a chance to terminate.
Absolutely.
Yep. So y'all ain't never have a field trip to the jail?
Yep, sure did.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
straight.
no, it ain't even that.
How old were you?
No, I really think they were just trying to get our fingerprints in the system. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I was just thinking about it now, like, dang, why did we go down there and do all that? You know what I'm saying? But I remember the first real wake up call, like I think it was like ninth grade. We were coming from a party. I ride with the seniors because I was me. Anyway, so we getting in the box Chevy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, police ran down on us so hard. We ain't do nothing, man. We just chilling. That's when I had that first wake up, like, dang, they got us stretched out. You know what I'm saying? So they like 15, you know what I'm saying? Like 15. Then the next wake up, I was just minding my business in the mall. I end up in jail that night. Like, literally, I ain't do nothing. Ain't nothing happened. Some people were fighting. It had nothing to do with me. I'm going to my car. They run down on me and say, how old are you? I say, 18. He said, good. And put me in the car, bro. Took me downtown, like literally, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's like, I could go on and on about, you know what I'm saying, Like just discrimination, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's really a shame that all of us have stories like that. No matter like what type of environment we come from, or you know what I'm saying, like some guys are more nerdy, some guys are more street, some, you know what I'm saying, but we all have the same exact experience, you know, and that's just horrible, man. Like I really hate that, man. So, and that's a stressor, like Maria was saying, like, okay, but what's these stressors that y'all going through? Like, okay, well, you learn these stressors early in your life, and then you compound on top of that. Well, I'm just trying not to be a stereotype.
And then who can you run to about these stresses? Because then you're considered weak, and then you're considered as a little kid. Stop all that crying. Who you whining?
Right. So now you
see, Crow, I have that in my notes as well. It's just like, you know, that's why we don't vent about a lot of stuff, because we don't want to be seen as soft or weak.
And then at the same time, when you do get harassed by the police, because I truly have an instance where me and my brother would literally snap. My brother had just got paid. He worked for U.S. Code. And he was putting down floors, so he was making some guap, and so he was like, "Little bro, I'm gonna treat you to some E&L barbecue." I was in middle school at that time, and so we ride in my brother Thunderbird. Never forget it. Police swarmed down on us, snatched my brother out the car, snatched me out the car. Tell my brother they gonna tear his ass from limb to limb. I'll never forget that, because I'm trying to fight the police. I'm in middle school trying to go, and they holding me down, knee to the back. Honestly, my mom, my aunt, we all went down to JPD, honestly. Filed with IA, all of that. Nothing happened. So you then get conditioned to, when I do go do something or try to file or try to go talk to the hierarchy, nothing happens. But we see on a daily basis these officers putting these in the back, snatching us out of cars with improbable cause, shooting unarmed black men, and nothing is getting done about it. And they give us one, and what, we supposed to cheer for joy? And then he's probably going to get a chance to appeal because of some jury stuff. So let me not get on that tangent right there. But because also I'm conflicted, because then I train officers because I want them to know better, because if they don't know better, they won't do better. And if nobody is teaching them about our culture and not to be nervous just because a black man raises his voice, that's not mean he's threatening you. He may be trying to express, or that may be where his culture, how he come from in his environment, that he just talk loud, or that young lady just talk loud and rolls her neck. It's not mean she's becoming aggressive with you
or sassy.
Right, that's part of the culture. She's explaining, that's her emotions leading. So that's why I'm conflicted. On one end, I tell them, y'all pissed me off growing up, but now if I stay that pissed off black man and not open that door and not try to teach those who do wear the badge and who do wear the uniform, then it's only going to continue to get worse. And then I do encourage them to call out the bad apples, just as y'all want to call out the bad apples in our community. We want you all to do just the same.
And speaking of calling out the bad apples, I'm not in Jackson anymore, but I did see that there was an incident that happened at the Jury Inn last night, and the chief of, I think it was Ridgeland, was like calling out Hines County people coming over here to Madison County causing trouble. Like, I don't think that was appropriate, because you can't just point out individuals like people from a whole county saying, oh, well, Hines County people coming over to Madison County causing trouble. Trouble is everywhere, right? So how do you guys feel about, that comment? It was like he was subliminally saying
he was
people coming over here, keeping up.
You can't make a comment like that, and with the gun laws that's available in the state of Mississippi, how you can get a gun without taking any courses or having a license. Like, anybody can buy a gun now. That's just the reality what it is, especially in the South. This going to put me on a different soapbox. I really don't like when the other side in Rankin County and Madison County have stuff to say about Hines County, because it's like it'll take it a deeper conversation, but we all know the state of Mississippi schemes to keep Jackson down. So it's just, I even don't like when black people say that. Black people who moved to Madison and in
Or out the
Rankin
state.
County talking down upon Jackson. Like, I think it's one of it's definitely a racist thing, but I feel like Ridgeland is basically the slums. You know, Ridgeland and Pearl are the slums for the other side. So I wouldn't. That's not upper echelon living to me. But I feel like crime is everywhere. You know, kids are a little different these days. You know, kids, they quick to pick up a gun, but I will say that guns are easily accessible to kids now than back when we were growing up. I feel like a lot of people had guns, but it wasn't to the magnitude where it's at now. And I didn't really read the story about it because I heard the soundbite, but it's like stuff like that kind of pissed me off, so I try to not even entertain it. But it's crazy how the other side quick to say some shit like that when it's crazy when the other side says something like that. I mean,
the truth hurts.
But you know, it puts us in a tough position, like us, like we are middle to upper class people. And it's like, do I stay in the quote unquote hood or do I move to Madison? Do I move to Ridgeland? Do I move to Pearl? And it's like, you know, I go through that with my own kid. Like my daughter is going to the 10th grade. She has a 4.7 GPA, but she does not go to a neighborhood school. So it's like, you know, I want to keep her in-house, but then, you know, I don't want her to suffer educationally. So it's like, it's such a battle. And it's just draining. You know, she's going to the 10th grade and she can go to any college right now that she wanted to. And it's like, you know, I tried to get her, I'm like, hey, I want you to look at Jackson State. She was like, I'll look at Howard. I'll look at Xavier. You know, she won't even look at Grambling or Southern or Jackson State or whatever. And it's just like, you know, because she knows that she can go to Stanford. She can go to Harvard. So it's just like, you know, it's such a battle. So with our own children, do we, you know, if we had great students at a Wingfield or, you know, or Jim Hill or something like that, we could really change that school. But then do I want to send my kid to Jim Hill or Wingfield or Forest Hill or whatever, and they suffer educationally? So it's such a battle, you know. So now I want to put my kid in Jackson Prep because that's the best opportunity for them. And it's just
I'm not putting my kid in any environment where there are one of 3 black people in the classroom. I don't care what type of school district it is. I'm not setting my kid up for that.
I agree with you, Corey, but
I'm not setting my kid up for that type of experience. Like
those people who are gifted and have more can get more. And I found that out when I used to play baseball.
I went to Hines AHS, one of the poorest schools in the state of Mississippi, and I made it up out of that joint. I'm doing well for myself. I ain't trying to hear that BS about you gotta be at some top-notch school to make it out. I think that's a lazy statement to me. It's not the first time I heard that, but it is what it is. People do what's best for their kids. I'm not slandering that, but I don't like hearing that.
I'm with Corey. Let me tell you what I tell my kids when I go talk to them, honestly. Because I come from majority somewhat of the environment they came from. My dad, alcohol and drug addict, now 22 years sober. There was a lot going on in the household, I'll say that much. So I tell them honestly, about time you hit middle school, it's starting on you to make your decisions in life. It's up to you to sit in that classroom and be quiet. You know your home is chaotic. You know your environment is chaotic. If this is the only quiet space you get, why not pay attention? Why not look at mom, dad, grandma, auntie situation and want better? This is the time now where in middle school where you say, hey, I may have to go home to some BS, but it's quiet right now. My teacher is teaching me something that can equate to me getting a job, which can equate to me having funds for myself to get me out of this position. But if you want to continue like this, but we teach at a late age when they, when kids really should start having a mind on their own. We always say, boy, this grown folks talking, or all this type of stuff. But we really should encourage our kids to really start, being independent in that middle school age, and start really thinking about their next step and challenging, especially when those communities or those environments where it's low income and we're teaching and mentoring them. We need to let them know at a middle school age, hey, this really, yes, you right now you not getting fed every day, or you have lack of clothes, but this should be motivation for you to want better for yourself and not go get it the easy way by kicking in doors, running up on somebody, so forth and so on.
Hey, Crow, I agree, but let me say this. For those of us, and I'll say us, we all have some sort of gift, right?
Correct.
Like, I remember when I played baseball, I told the coach, hey, I can't make it to practice. We don't have transportation. But I hit a home run. He said, I'll come get you. Here's what happens, though. Those of us who are exceptional get attention. Those of us who are behavior problems get attention. But what about that person that's just average, who go to school with their head down, they're going to earn C's and stuff like that? And this is my biggest gripe in education. That average kid, if you are not at a great school, an average kid at a bad school does not really have that big of a chance. And this, this is just me just openly venting. Had it not been for first me as an athlete and then me as an artist, had I not had those two gifts, I would have fell by the wayside. I was going to go to Hines Community College to be a brick apprentice because that's all I knew, because my stepdaddy was a brick apprentice and I thought that was the only way out, until Dr. Henderson told me that you can go to school for art. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that. So now I'm trying to scramble and make myself eligible to go to college for something else, because I didn't even know that was an option. So I just worry about that kid at Lanier, at Provine, at Callaway.
I'm from Lanier. Time out. I'm from Lanier. No.
I mean, at all. Even Vicksburg High School, where I went. Even Vicksburg High School. All of those schools,
we're not gonna go into the 833-601 battle,
No. I just want to speak up, because honestly, if you go back and check history, Lanier has produced some of the top individuals across the nation.
But what about the middleman at Lanier? I want them to succeed.
It's all about resiliency.
We don't care about Lanier or none of Thank you.
It's all about resiliency.
We don't care.
Right. Yeah, I do want to speak up, man. Educational racism is real. My first in-your-face racist experience happened in the school when I was in second grade. That was when I got my real nigga wake-up call in second grade, when I had the grades, I had the performance to be in this gifted program called Attaché, Clinton, Northside Elementary Schools, where my mom taught at in Clinton, Mississippi. I had all the grades, met all the qualifications, and they wouldn't let me in. I was the only black kid that met the qualifications, and they didn't let me in. My mom taught at the school. She raised hell about it. They never let me in, but the teacher who was in charge of it basically put me on the side of the gifted program and gave me some of the programs and the homework and stuff like that. So we don't talk enough about educational racism and how a lot of teachers, administrators hold our kids back. But this is where great involved parents come into play. So I do agree with Corey as far as I don't want my child being one of one in a class full of white kids. But because of where I stay, because of where the military moves me, many times I don't have a choice of where my kids go to school. And so because of that, my child is usually one or two of three black kids in a class full of white kids because of my profession. But that's when myself and Fee are the super involved parents that you need to be, and you have to talk to the teachers, you have to talk to your kids, you have to be involved, you have to see what homework they're talking about, you have to see how they're being treated in class, you have to actually sit down, communicate with your children, and see exactly what their experience is if you cannot choose where they go to school. And so I do agree, but sometimes like you have no choice but to stay in, the big neighborhood that has the great school with, 85% white kids. But in that instance, you have to be an involved parent. You can't be a sideline parent. You can't be a passive parent. You have to be involved. You have to talk. You have to be up. You have to show up there. You have to go to the PTA meetings, the parent teacher conferences. You have to look at their homework, look at the grade. You have to know who the principal is, know who all their teachers are, know who their friends are. And you have to be an involved parent if they are feeling either secluded or they're feeling like they don't have any friends. Because for little kids, like my she's going to third grade, my son's going to kindergarten, and I have 3 older kids. For my 2 younger ones, they really have no choice but to go to these predominantly white schools because of where we stay. So you have to be an involved parent in that case, because sometimes your child may feel alienated, feel alone, and sometimes the teachers may be making them feel that way as well, either intentionally or unintentionally, because some teachers are pieces of shit. I mean, when you think about it, there are a lot of racist teachers who have a lot of racist ideas, and they may be giving your child preferential negative treatment, and you have to be in tune with what's going on with your children and be an involved parent to make sure they're getting what they need at school.
And I wanted to add, on, being an involved parent, be an involved father. A lot of times, like when I was in extracurricular activities, I always saw like my classmates' mother. I never saw their dad. Now, my dad was like involved in everything we did, like even to the point where I remember in middle school, they had parents on patrol. My dad, because he was disabled, he had that time to, invest into his girls. And of course, he was a little, strict on us. But, I appreciate that, knowing that I had that male figure that was looking after me. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. So I definitely think, fathers, Black fathers, should take an active role in their children's education as well. Before we wrap up, I want to go to my last question. And I think this is something that hasn't been addressed on you all's talk is, how did you guys come up with Brothers Vent 2? What made you start, this show and then streaming it out and talking about pretty much any and everything that we all think about, but you guys are actually talking about it?
All right, so I guess I can start chiming in and talking now.
Now he want to talk.
Mind your business. So I think pretty much every organization, sorority, fraternity, line brothers, line sisters have group chats, right? Mm-hmm. So when we talking, we discussing certain things. We talk about these topics all the time in our group chat. And a few years ago, John Pridgeon, I think he's on right now. He probably
Joey.
Yeah, Joey. He said we should start a show, a podcast. We talking about all this amongst ourselves. People need to hear this. We were like, man, we're gonna start it one day. We just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, right? So then the pandemic happened, COVID-19. We all sitting at home. We ain't got nothing to do. We chilling. We still talking about all these things and these topics. So we just said, let's go on and start it. So we started on a whim. We ain't do no promotion. We ain't draw no plans out. We just
Black men do. We do it.
Right. We just started. The first 2, 3, 5 episodes were horrible when I go back and look at them. But we started out with something, right? And it's been built since then. We've been doing good and tracking along. So we trying to put this platform out and give people something to talk about outside of what they see on social media, just everyday topics, and give brothers a chance to vent. Give our brothers a chance to vent. Mostly Alpha Beta though. We don't bring too many other people on, but mostly.
It is designed, as you see also on the side. It opens up dialogue for you and our viewers to go in their home and talk about it. Hopefully, they're going to talk to their brother about it. We have teachers on here that teach young Black men. Maybe they, bring this up. We have coaches. We have mental health therapists on here. We have doctors on here, in different fields. So hopefully what we touch on and speak on only is the tip of the iceberg, which further opens up conversations within homes, within the community, and and I encourage others to go to work, talk about it. Call your brother and ask him, hey man, I heard these 6 guys talking. They said they feel like this, and this. Did you feel this way? and then that right there. But that's what for me, I see it as definitely a great platform for us. I've grown a lot, truly. Learning things about myself, learning things about them, seeing errors in my ways. I'm definitely one now to admit when I'm wrong. Definitely growing. Iron sharpens iron. That is one of the most truest statements around. These guys motivate me to want to do better, want to better myself, want to put myself in great positions mentally, emotionally, financially, not just for myself, but for my community, for my next generation, for my son, and break the curses that we discuss every week, and also take the nuggets and the diamonds that we do share with each other and build up on them. And I think, that's definitely, I'm grateful for this show. I tell anybody now, I'm very grateful for every Friday. This platform truly allows me to get things off my chest.
To vent.
Without, and I don't care about being vulnerable because I've shared a lot of stuff. I've kind of learned people gonna judge you whether you're doing something good or whether you're doing something bad. You can buy a car and somebody gonna say, "Ooh, that girl or that dude got an ugly car," or "Ooh, that car too small for them. They know they too tall for that car." People gonna judge you no matter what at the end of the day. So you just learn when and how, and if you are okay with sharing and doing all of that, know it. And I know nobody can hurt me with anything that I've already been through. You can't throw that in my face and tell me, that, hey, you once were, on the poverty line with your family. Okay, I'm good with that. I know I gotta, I'm good with that. But that's just the end of the day. I'm very grateful for this show. Just to sum it up. Grateful for these brothers.
Yeah, man. I'm super grateful for Jay Ward.
Yeah, here we go.
Every time he takes up for the women, I feel, sensitive. I feel closer to my sensitive side. Jay Ward's taking up for the women, man. So I've learned a lot over the.
What you trying to say, T?
I learned a lot over this last year. What I'm saying, it's about opening up, and like Crow said, iron sharpens iron. What I'm saying, like I celebrate everybody else wins more than my own. Like when Swift graduated, got his doctorate or whatever, what I'm saying? Like I really felt like
daddy. Proud stepdaddy. Proud stepdaddy.
I'm not gonna remove you tonight, Crow, but I'm gonna let you make it tonight.
What I'm saying? But the good thing about it is we can sit here and watch each other grow, what I'm saying? Go through the motions with our brother, what I'm saying? The hard times, what I'm saying? We done been there for the hard time, we've been there for the wins. And so and then all the people in the comments, like, y'all don't understand how important y'all are too, because y'all keep us going too, what I'm saying? And it's really like a family and an interaction amongst us, like, and not even the people that comment. It's a lot of people that send us messages or questions that don't want us to say nothing about them, what I'm saying? but they definitely support, so I feel like it's bigger than what we think it is, what I'm saying? But I'm just glad that we still going,
Yeah, I want to just echo what everybody else has said. And I remember, if you go back and look at our chat about this podcast, not that we have a group chat, but
we don't have a group chat.
We do not have a group chat. Here's the thing, and Rob was talking about losing his mom right when we first went live, and I had sent everybody some information about this. My mom passed, and I couldn't be on the first couple of episodes, and Kevin Lawrence filled in, and he's passed. And I'm not trying to get emotional about it, but I'm just like, man, he filled in because I just wasn't in the mind frame to be able to come on. I watched, but I couldn't talk. and rest in peace in him. And then that's what made me go to my doctor and say, hey, I want to be screened for cancer. And just all of it has come full circle, and just to have people from different backgrounds and different demographics to be able to talk openly. And I know a lot of people want us to talk about different things that will get us more views and sponsorships and things like that. And hopefully that time comes and all that, but we want to stay authentic and stay true to what it is that we want to do. And a lot of times, like, we can get up here and just talk about who's screwing who in the celebrity world, and we'll be popping and have 100,000 views, but that's not what we come to do. And a lot of times when we really get deep into something and we're really laying our emotions on the line, you'll see people in the comments like, go to the next question, or they're too emotional about it. But that is the purpose of this particular podcast. And that's helped us, and that's helped us to grow. And, like when my mom passed, Crowley reached out to me. Everybody on the panel, T reached out to me. People who've gone through this reached out to me and say, look, this is how it's going to be. This is what you need to do. I'm here for you because of this, and this. And that helped me. And then when my Neo's mom passed, I was able to put that same information and give that same encouragement to him. And we have a lot of people in Alpha Beta who lost their mom or dad within the past year or two. And it's been rough. It has been rough on us. And it's like just being able to be supportive of each other and, to step outside of that traditional, we're men, we're tough thing, and just really be like, hey, bro, I'm here for you if you need to talk. That meant everything to me, and it's meant everything to all of the brothers, and I can attest to that. And that's what this is about. And, of course, we want to grow to a bigger platform and all of that. But even if we just stay with the, the hundreds of thousands of views or whatever that we have on a weekly or a monthly basis, it's enough, because the avenue is needed and the wants is needed. And like T said, our fans, we appreciate y'all so much, and everybody who watches and views and comments. And we've grown close to y'all. Yeah, we've grown close to y'all. We've grown close to y'all, and it's been amazing to grow close to people that we've never met, but just to talk to y'all on social media, and y'all hit us up on stuff that, we don't, even though we don't know y'all hit us up on social media and we talk to you guys about that. And it's just an amazing process, man. So I appreciate all of y'all.
These are supporters and family, sir, not fans.
Yeah, this caused much needed dialogue in my relationship. Like, everyone knows that Fee is an avid watcher of the show. She comments often. She gives her perspective. People often wonder how we're able to do this whole thing, because I'm a fool. Everyone sees she's a fool. I wild out on the show. People know she's watching. And even though she's watching, I'm still able to say what I want to say, mainly because it's me, for one. But for two, we usually talk about this after the show is over with, and these aren't topics that come up in a relationship often. Like, the relationship is usually a day-to-day grind. How you doing? I love you. See you later. What's for dinner, etc. But this show brings up topics that you don't usually talk about in your day-to-day relationship. And so I've said stuff on the show that we haven't talked about, and we've been together for 11 years. And this is stuff that we haven't talked about in depth, like talked about, young boys being, molested and stuff about older women. This is not stuff that Black men talk about. Like, we don't shine a light on the stuff in real life, because naturally, you're in passing. But I feel like this show has brought up topics that most people need to talk about off the show. Secondly, there's just this perception of Black men on social media right now. And I think our show has a wide array of different types of Black men, but we are all successful, responsible, great fathers, genuinely great men that are taking care of our business and trying to survive in this cold world. And I think specifically when we talked about, who pays the bills in a relationship, there were a lot of women in the comments who were shocked that we all, pay for mostly everything, because there's this perception that Black men, don't do this, don't do that. There's just all these negative stereotypes. I think we've broken significant stereotypes on this show just by people listening to us, and our life matches what we're talking about on this show. So I think that this has done a lot not only for us, but for people's perceptions of what Black men are, being successful, college educated, holding down the job, taking care of their kids, and just being great dudes who are flawed, because we aren't perfect men either. We are flawed. We've all been through something. We've all been, done some stuff that we aren't proud about, but we talk about it and we work through it and we discuss it. We laugh about it and then we move on. But we're vulnerable. We're open. We show we aren't perfect, but we are striving to be the best that we can be. So I think this show has done a lot for that, as well as how we view the Black woman. I think that's something else that we talk about often, because there's this perception that Black women aren't being protected by Black men. And I feel confidently that we do this outside of E. Joke. But I feel like that we have broken that stereotype as well, because I know all of us do this in our real life. It's not something that we just talk about. We actually live this life. So I think that's happened and done a lot for that stigma as well.
Absolutely. Did you go ahead?
I was gonna say, and to close it out, it's a testament to just doing what you want to do without the approval. Because I see so much on social media. People say, "Should I do this or should I start this?" Or "What do y'all think about me doing this?" Just do what you want to do. Do what the God puts on your mind and your heart. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Because, like I said, we didn't have a plan. We just started it. We just jumped out there and it worked out. So if you have something that you want to do, just do it. Don't wait on everyone else's approval.
Dr. Dixon, can I ask you a question?
Here we go.
Mama Swift was trying to marry you off, but you're already married. So do you have a like-minded woman that we?
We can talk about that online, offline.
She was trying to marry you off, and when you dropped you're married bombshell, because Mama Swift has been taken care of. She's found her soulmate.
Hey, Jay Ward, me and Mama trying to walk around the house, we trying to get.
So let's go ahead and wrap this up for tonight. I didn't want to act up. We tried to be professional. We tried not to show that side of PVT.
Hey, we did do pretty good on professionalism.
We did. Y'all didn't want to show that side. We're gonna bring them back and we're gonna close this out. But they want to. Nope.
This was a really good conversation. I think it was very important and imperative to have you guys to talk about your experiences, your life experiences, and even your health. Given the importance of mental health on our functioning in society, it is paramount that we identify ways to improve treatment. As we move forward to addressing mental health of Black men, we need to strongly consider incorporating the voices of Black men in research on mental health. This is vital to improving the use of treatment of the lives of the Black man in America. As we conclude, to go back to the reason why we're here, the All of Us Research Program is inviting 1 million people across the United States to help build one of the most diverse health databases in history. We welcome participants from all backgrounds. You can participate as much or as little as you like. The difference in our program is that you are involved from day one. Pretty much in other research programs, you give your specimen, your blood, and you don't know where it goes. Well, with our program, you're able to track your health and your health history for an amount of 10 years. The program also offers genetic testing. So T, if you want to get genetic testing, we mentioned that your father passed away from prostate cancer. We provide more information to you and about your family history. Researchers also will use the data to learn about our biology, our lifestyle, and how our environment affects health. This could help them develop better treatments and ways to prevent diseases and disorders. To learn more about the All of Us Research Program, visit us at www.joinallofus.org/DREF, or you can visit us on our social media platforms. Do you have that up for me?
It's the last PowerPoint slide, right?
Yes.
I'm pulling it up now.
Getting the cut.
So we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or if you would like to learn more about our program, you can email us at researchmatters@deltafoundation.net. Again, if you have your on a different device, you can hover over our QR code and complete our exit survey. This will help us plan more events. And speaking of more events, tomorrow we're actually having an event, and our special guest will be Master P, and he will be talking about health and wellness. So we invite you to join us on our Facebook page, Draft/Research Matters, and that will be held at 4:00 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. That event, I think it's going to be a really good event. It will feature HBCU SGA presidents. So we try to include, all avenues of the African American community to help engage and encourage us about the importance of biomedical research. And again, thank you so much to my fellow JSU alums for allowing me to participate in this important conversation. It was a learning process for me as well. Just hearing you all's perspective on different things that affect the Black man. Also, when Rob was talking about, the relationship issue, sometimes it could be, your spouse or your girl or whatever. So I thought this was a really good conversation. And I wish you all much success.
Thank you. And we want to thank everybody in the comments for coming and listening and staying the entire time. We want to thank Dr. Dixon. We have to get you a gift or something to send it to you. And we do welcome you back for another conversation. Just let us know when you are ready. And if you want to bring someone else, that is fine as well.
And bring my LS's sisters vent too.
So we're not going to Dr. Dixon. Can I ask you a question, Dr. Dixon? Can I ask you a question, Dr. Dixon? If you could name the greatest 3 influences from Louisiana when it comes to influence, you got Master P, Baby, and Lil Wayne. Who's the most important?
To me?
Yes.
Just my opinion, right?
Yes.
Master P.
You good with me? You good with me?
Why was that even a question? Like,
well, some of these youngsters, they believe in Boosie or Kevin Gates or Young Boy or whatever. So
the biggest influence from Louisiana is gumbo.
Shut up, T.
Well,
hey, if you go to get crawfish and it's from a county and not a parish, it's not good crawfish. Just saying.
Okay.
We're not gonna go ignorant tonight. We've been doing good. All right. Does anyone have any final comments they would like to share before we end tonight?
Make sure y'all follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Brothers Vent 2. You know what I'm saying? Share these videos, comment, like, all that good stuff, man. We need that. And if you got any questions, go ahead and send them in, because we got some good stuff planned for y'all. So, go ahead and get that in, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're trying to get Swift out the house. We want Johnson and balls swinging everywhere, so please
Bro, about to give me
Corey, your final
comment? Come on.
Use him. Let me speak for Corey and let's say this. If Jason Tatum is who we say he is, which he is,
get great. Him off here, man. No.
And we're gonna end this tonight.
The program is over, by the way.
Y'all have a great evening. Let me see my boy Corey ready.
I've been discriminated against and I don't like it.
Okay, Corey, final comments, Corey.
Never mind. Corey sound like he's taking over about what's that, the Transformers?
Like we said, y'all have a good evening. We will see y'all next Friday at 8:15 Central, 9:15 Eastern, and y'all have a great weekend.
Oh yeah, and if the women, that's the women's show, right? That you're trying to get. So we need women for that show next week, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we were gonna do it this week, but like we had some special this week. We got one. I know Miss Marie.
Am I the first to be on the show?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
You the first host, well, moderator. You the first one got to talk.
Yeah.
You're the first that been on this long, so yeah.
We'll say that. But for anyone that would like to join the show and have a conversation, questions that women want to bring up, we can talk about it. Let us know, message either of the bros, and we will bring it up into our text messages. We're gonna have a group chat.
Yeah, we don't have a group chat.
In our group messages, because we do not have a group chat.
Yeah. All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, cool.
Shout out